Hello. I'm Dr. John, and this is the channel where health and education meet. Do you love sweets but feel like you need to avoid them because of diabetes? Have you tried cutting sugar, but the craving always comes back? What if I told you that it's possible to eliminate that craving without guilt and without harming your blood sugar levels? In this video, I'm going to show you delicious sweets that you can enjoy without fear, plus teach you how to naturally reduce sugar cravings. Here, you'll discover the best ingredients, easy recipes, and healthy alternatives to replace traditional sweets without sacrificing taste. No restrictive diets or radical prohibitions. The secret is in choosing the right foods. So, if you want to learn how to satisfy your sweet cravings without compromising your health, stay with me until the end, because I'll give you valuable tips that could transform your diet and your quality of life. Let's get started. Have you noticed how sugar seems to be in everything? It's not just in chocolate or cakes, but even in bread, tomato sauce, and even foods that are supposed to be healthy. And the worst part? Sugar activates the same pleasure circuits in the brain as highly addictive drugs like nicotine. That's why cutting sugar can be so difficult. It's not just a matter of willpower but of brain chemistry. The body gets used to receiving these constant doses of glucose, and when they decrease, it reacts by craving more. And there's another detail: sugar is strongly linked to our emotions. Who hasn't craved something sweet after a stressful day? This happens because sugar releases serotonin, the happiness hormone, giving that momentary feeling of relief. The problem is that this effect wears off quickly, and soon after, there's an energy crash and an uncontrollable desire for more. In other words, a vicious cycle forms, and without realizing it, many people get stuck in this food trap. Additionally, there's a strong cultural factor. From a young age, we are taught to associate sweets with moments of happiness, birthday parties, family desserts, rewards for good behavior. This creates an emotional bond that's difficult to break. But is there a way to satisfy that sweet craving without harming your health? Yes, and the key to that is in the right ingredients, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about now. The good news is that you don't have to give up sweets, you just need to choose the right ingredients. And here's a powerful concept: replacing without losing pleasure. Instead of refined sugar, which causes glucose spikes and addiction, there are natural options like stevia, erythritol, and allulose, which sweeten without impacting blood sugar. Additionally, ingredients like 100% cocoa, coconut milk, and almond flour help create incredibly tasty desserts without the drawbacks of ultra-processed foods. The secret is learning how to make these smart swaps. Another essential point is understanding that texture and flavor can be preserved without needing to use traditional sugar. For example, using ripe bananas or dates in recipes can give that natural sweetness without compromising blood sugar balance. For cakes and pies, nut flours like cashew and almond provide structure and extra nutrients. In other words, eating sweets can be healthy, as long as the ingredients work in favor of the body, not against it. But do these substitutions really make a difference in everyday life? Absolutely. Imagine being able to savor a brigadeiro made with pure cocoa and coconut milk, sweetened with erythritol, without feeling guilty or fearing a sugar spike. Or a fluffy cake sweetened with apple, with no refined sugar at all. Small changes like these make a huge difference and help retrain your palate for healthier choices. And if there's one group of foods that can do this deliciously, it's fruits. If there's a natural and delicious way to satisfy a sweet craving without compromising health, it's fruits. But not all fruits are equal when it comes to blood sugar control. While some, like strawberries, blueberries, and avocados, have a low impact on glucose and offer essential fiber, others, like grapes and mangoes, can raise blood sugar quickly if eaten in excess. The secret is to choose fruits with a low glycemic index and combine them with healthy fats or proteins for an even more balanced effect. For example, instead of eating a banana by itself, which can cause a glucose spike, try pairing it with natural peanut butter. The same goes for a handful of strawberries dipped in unsweetened Greek yogurt. These combinations slow down the absorption of the fruit's natural sugar, keeping energy stable and prolonging the feeling of fullness. Moreover, some fruits like coconut and avocado are virtually fructose-free and rich in healthy fats, making them perfect options for diabetics. And the best part? Fruits are incredibly versatile. They can be used to create amazing desserts, like natural banana ice cream with cocoa, avocado mousse, or even a chia pudding with coconut milk and strawberries. With creativity, it's possible to turn these foods into healthy, delicious sweets. But if you want even more convenience, there are quick and easy recipes that can be made in minutes. There's nothing better than satisfying a sweet craving with something quick, healthy, and delicious. Many people think healthy recipes are complicated, but the truth is, with just a few ingredients, you can make incredible desserts in minutes. One example is healthy brigadeiro. Just mix 100% cocoa, coconut milk, and erythritol on low heat until it thickens. The result? A creamy sweet with no refined sugar and amazing flavor. For chocolate lovers, this is a perfect alternative to the traditional one. Another quick and easy option is avocado mousse with cocoa. Avocado has healthy fats that help control blood sugar and provide a velvety texture. Just blend a ripe avocado, cocoa powder, natural sweetener, and a touch of coconut milk. In a few minutes, you have a creamy and nutritious dessert. Want something even more refreshing? Try a natural banana ice cream. Freeze banana slices, then blend them in a food processor with some natural yogurt and vanilla essence. The result is a creamy, guilt-free ice cream, and if you like crunchy options, you can make low-carb cookies in less than 15 minutes. Mix almond flour, peanut butter, an egg, and 70% sugar-free chocolate chips. Bake for 10 minutes, and you're done. These are easy, quick recipes that really work for those who want a balanced diet. But what about those who don't have time to cook and end up reaching for industrialized sweets? Is there a healthy alternative for them? Not everyone has the time or inclination to prepare healthy desserts at home. So what should you do when that sweet craving hits and the easiest option seems to be chocolate or ultra-processed cookies? The good news is that there are ready-made alternatives that are much healthier and safer for diabetics. Chocolates with a high cocoa content, 70% or more, and no sugar, nut bars with natural sweeteners, and even sugar-free yogurts can be valuable allies in these moments. Just check the labels and avoid ingredients like glucose syrup and maltodextrin. Another interesting alternative is protein desserts. Nowadays, there are many options for cakes, puddings, and mousses that are rich in protein and free from refined sugar. In addition to helping control hunger, these products prevent glucose spikes and prolong the feeling of fullness. If you want something even more natural, dehydrated fruits with no added sugar can be an option, but always in moderation, as they have a higher concentration of fructose. The secret is always choosing options that provide energy without disrupting blood sugar balance, and for those who want something sweet but without giving up crunchiness, caramelized nuts with natural sweetener are an excellent choice. They combine fiber, healthy fats, and a touch of sweetness without the damage of traditional industrialized sweets. Making these choices every day can completely transform your relationship with sugar and help make blood sugar control easier. But if the goal is to understand even more about how certain nutrients help in this process, we need to talk about the role of fibers and proteins. If there's one thing that can make all the difference in blood sugar control, it's the strategic combination of fibers and proteins in the diet. Fibers slow down sugar absorption in the blood, preventing those spikes that cause hunger and fatigue shortly after. Proteins help keep you full longer, preventing the body from craving more carbs to compensate for lack of energy. That's why including foods like chia seeds, flax seeds, oats, eggs, and Greek yogurt in meals can be a real game changer for those wanting to better control their sugar levels. One practical example is chia pudding. When you mix chia seeds with coconut milk and let it chill in the fridge, you create a creamy, fiber-rich treat that keeps blood sugar stable and satisfies sweet cravings. For breakfast, swapping white bread for scrambled eggs with avocado can prevent that energy dip in the morning. Small adjustments like these make a huge difference in how the body responds to glucose and help break the sugar craving cycle. Additionally, proteins and fibers also help retrain the palate. The more balanced your diet, the less your body will crave sugar as a quick source of pleasure and energy. In other words, instead of fighting the desire for sweets, it's possible to prevent it with the right diet. And when we talk about long-term control, it's not just about what to eat, but also about how to create sustainable habits. Craving sweets isn't just a matter of taste, it's a habit that strengthens over time. The body gets used to glucose spikes, and when levels drop, it craves more sugar to compensate. The good news is that this cycle can be broken. The first strategy is to gradually reduce sugar consumption instead of cutting it all at once. For example, if you sweeten your coffee with 2 teaspoons of sugar, try reducing it to 1 and then replacing it with a natural sweetener. Your palate will adjust, and soon, excessive sweetness will begin to feel overwhelming. Another effective tactic is to ensure that your main meals are well balanced. If someone has a lunch consisting only of carbohydrates like rice and potatoes, without protein or fat, glucose spikes quickly and drops soon after, causing that uncontrollable sweet craving in the afternoon. But if the same meal includes a good portion of chicken, olive oil, and fiber-rich vegetables, energy is released gradually, reducing sugar cravings. Small adjustments like these can have a huge impact on controlling sweet cravings, and, of course, the emotional aspect also plays a role. Often, sugar becomes an escape valve for stress, boredom, or even anxiety. Therefore, finding other sources of pleasure and relaxation, such as exercising, meditating, or even having a hot tea, can be very helpful. The key isn't just to replace sugar with healthy alternatives but also to build a new relationship with food. But what about the myths? After all, is everything they say about sweets for diabetics true? When it comes to diabetes, misinformation about foods and diets is very common. One of the most persistent myths is that diabetics can't eat any sweets. That's not true. The problem isn't the sweet itself, but the type of sweet and the ingredients used. Sweets made with natural sweeteners like stevia or erythritol can be consumed in moderation, as long as the meal is balanced. The trick is learning to choose the right options that don't cause glucose spikes and consuming them intelligently. Another widespread myth is that by replacing sugar with sweeteners, the sweet becomes completely harmless. While sweeteners like stevia are better options than refined sugar, they should still be consumed in moderation. This is because, in large amounts, even natural sweeteners can have adverse effects. For example, excessive erythritol can cause gastrointestinal discomfort in some people. The key is balance and consciously choosing when and how to consume them. There's also the myth that fruits are forbidden for diabetics, especially sweeter ones like bananas and mangoes. In reality, fruits can be an excellent source of nutrients and fibers, as long as they are consumed cautiously and in controlled portions. There's no need to eliminate them from the diet, but rather choose fruits with a lower glycemic index and combine them with foods that help control glucose. Now that we've debunked these misconceptions, it's time to conclude with the final reflection. How can all of this truly transform the way you deal with sweets and your health? Now that you know how to make smarter choices when it comes to sweets, it's time to put this knowledge into practice. By replacing refined sugar with healthy alternatives and investing in natural ingredients, you can continue to enjoy sweets in a pleasurable way without harming your health. Remember that controlling blood sugar doesn't have to be a daily battle, but a conscious choice that can be made in a simple and tasty way. The key is to turn these habits into routines, with quick and practical recipes, and control your sweet cravings with the right combination of fibers, proteins, and healthy alternatives. So, how about starting to apply these tips today? You can begin by swapping that sweet you love for a healthier version or, perhaps, trying a new recipe we discussed here. If you commit to these changes, you'll soon notice that your cravings for sweets start to naturally decrease. And the best part, your health will thank you. If you enjoyed this content and want to learn more about controlling blood sugar and making healthier choices, subscribe to the channel and activate the notifications. Don't miss any of the upcoming videos that will transform the way you live healthily and joyfully. Let's go on this journey together, always seeking balance.